The very person who once rejected you, who brushed off your presence, now seems to find their way back, drawn to the absence they once ignored. Why does this happen? And more importantly, how should you respond? In today's video, we're diving deep into a scenario that many of you might have faced. When the woman who rejected you starts to reappear in your life. Maybe it begins with a subtle text, a social media like, or even a random, "How have you been?" But why does this happen? And what does it reveal about human behavior, attraction, and your own growth? This is where Stoicism shines, a philosophy that teaches us to embrace adversity, control our reactions, and find strength within. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll have the tools to navigate this scenario like a true Stoic. Let's get started. Number 1. The reassessment phase. Rejection can feel like a blow to the ego, but how you respond to it defines your character and sets the tone for what follows. When you handle rejection with calmness and unwavering self-respect, you communicate a powerful message, louder than any words could ever achieve. It's in this moment of composed silence, not in chasing, pleading, or questioning, that your true strength shines. Picture this: a woman rejects you, expecting the usual reactions, anger, desperation, or attempts to win her back. Instead, you surprise her. You accept her decision without protest, wish her well with genuine sincerity, and continue on your path. No dramatic exits, no cryptic messages. You simply live your life as though you've lost nothing that wasn't meant for you in the first place. This is where the reassessment phase begins. Stoicism reminds us to focus only on what lies within our control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions. You couldn't control her decision, but you can control how you respond. This quiet confidence sends a ripple effect into her mind. Suddenly, she starts to wonder, did I misjudge him? Did I underestimate his value? Imagine you've been dating someone for a few months, and out of the blue, she tells you it's not working out. She might expect frustration, attempts to convince her otherwise, or even emotional outbursts. Instead, you take a deep breath and calmly reply, "I respect your decision. I wish you the best." Then, you step back and focus on your own life, your goals, hobbies, and relationships that bring you joy. Now, here's the fascinating part. As time passes, she begins to notice what's missing. She sees the absence of drama, the poise with which you handled the situation, and the fact that your world didn't crumble without her. This is when the reassessment phase takes root. She starts to replay moments in her mind, reconsidering whether she overlooked something extraordinary about you. Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By focusing inward and mastering your emotions, you project a sense of self-worth that doesn't rely on external validation. This strength is magnetic. It makes her question not only her decision, but also the type of person who could maintain such dignity under pressure. The reassessment phase isn't about manipulation. It's about showing through your actions that your value isn't diminished by rejection. You respect yourself enough not to chase after someone who doesn't see your worth. That self-respect often makes her wonder if she made a mistake. So, if you find yourself in this situation, remember, your calmness and self-control aren't just virtues. They're your most compelling response. Keep moving forward and let her realization unfold naturally. That's where your power lies. Number 2. Your silence speaks volumes. Have you ever noticed how the absence of something often makes its value more apparent? Think about a song that stops abruptly, or a favorite dish that's suddenly unavailable. That momentary void is powerful because it forces us to reflect on what we've lost or taken for granted. This same principle applies to relationships, especially when a woman begins to take your presence for granted. When you choose not to chase or beg, your absence creates a space she can't ignore. It's not about playing games or manipulation. It's about demonstrating self-respect and emotional maturity. Your silence sends a clear, unspoken message. I value myself too much to beg for attention or settle for less than mutual respect. This is what makes absence such a powerful tool. Let's take an example. Imagine you've been consistently available to someone, answering every message instantly, rearranging your plans to accommodate hers, always the one initiating conversations. Then, suddenly, you stop. Not in an angry or petty way, but because you've realized the importance of stepping back and prioritizing yourself. At first, she may not notice. She might even assume you're still there, waiting in the wings. But as time passes, she'll start to feel the void your absence creates. She'll wonder why you're not texting, why your usual good morning message is missing, or why you haven't asked her about her day. This space gives her room to reflect on what you brought to her life, and often, this reflection leads to realization. As the Stoics wisely teach, sometimes the most eloquent response is silence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." In this context, your silence is your way of showing you're secure enough not to argue your worth. Instead, you embody it. By not reacting, not pleading, and not chasing, you speak volumes about your confidence and self-worth. When you do this, it shifts the dynamic. Instead of trying to prove yourself, you allow her to see what life feels like without you in it. And here's the key. This isn't about punishing her or making her feel bad. It's about holding space for her to miss you, to see your value, and to perhaps realize that she might have overlooked what you bring to the table. Silence can be more powerful than words because it forces her to fill in the blanks. She may start to wonder, did I make the right choice? Or, why am I thinking about him so much now? Absence, when paired with self-respect and emotional stability, creates a magnetic pull far stronger than any words could achieve. In conclusion, your silence isn't about retreating in defeat. It's about standing firm in your value. It's about saying, without words, I know what I bring, and I don't need to prove it to anyone. Remember, you're not doing this to make her miss you. You're doing this because you respect yourself enough to step away from anything that doesn't serve you. Whether she comes back or not, you've won by choosing self-worth over desperation. And that, my friend, is how you let your silence speak louder than any words ever could. What about you? Have you ever experienced the power of silence in a relationship? Maybe you've stepped back and noticed how it shifted the dynamic, or perhaps you're in the middle of holding your ground right now. Share your story in the comments. We'd love to hear your perspective. Or, if this resonates with you and you're ready to stand firm in your value, simply type, I value myself enough to let silence speak for me, as an affirmation. Your voice matters, and your journey could inspire someone else to embrace their worth. Let's keep this conversation going. Number 3, when the world notices you. Think about this. You've been working on yourself quietly, focusing on becoming the best version of who you are. Maybe you've been hitting the gym consistently, mastering a skill, or excelling in your career. Slowly but surely, the results of your effort start to show. Your confidence grows, not because you're seeking validation, but because you've earned it from within. Then something interesting happens. Others begin to notice. Friends who haven't reached out in months suddenly text, commenting on your transformation. Acquaintances ask you for advice or cheer you on from the sidelines. Even strangers might strike up a conversation or compliment your energy. This shift doesn't go unnoticed by her, especially if she's distanced herself or taken you for granted. Here's where Stoicism offers an important lesson. While it's tempting to revel in this newfound attention, it's crucial to remain grounded. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that external praise is fleeting, and that true worth comes from living in alignment with our values. But there's an ironic twist. When you stop chasing validation and let your actions speak for themselves, the world tends to respond in kind. Now imagine her perspective. Maybe a mutual friend mentions your latest achievement, or she comes across a glowing comment on your social media. She begins to wonder if she misjudged you. That doubt creeps in. Was she too quick to dismiss someone who is clearly thriving? This isn't about revenge or one-upmanship. It's about the natural consequences of growth. Your progress highlights what she overlooked. Epictetus wisely said, "Keep your attention focused entirely on what is truly your own concern, and be clear that what belongs to others is their business and none of yours." This means that your growth isn't about impressing her or anyone else. It's about living authentically and fulfilling your potential. Ironically, this very mindset often ignites the spark of curiosity in others, including those who once took your presence for granted. So keep growing, not because you need the world or her to notice, but because you owe it to yourself. And if others recognize your worth along the way, let it be a reminder that staying true to your journey is the most powerful move of all. Number 4. You're not who she left. Rejection. It's a word that carries weight, doesn't it? It can feel like a blow to your confidence, a mark against your worth. But here's the truth. Rejection is never the final chapter. It's the opening line to a powerful story of transformation. When handled the right way, rejection becomes your greatest catalyst for growth. You take the pain, the questions, and the doubts, and you forge them into fuel. The man she left isn't the man you've become. In fact, you've grown into someone so unrecognizable that her past decision doesn't define you anymore. Growth changes the game, and when you truly embrace it, the outcome is always in your favor. Think about a breakup. At the time, it felt like your world had shifted, maybe even shattered. You might have looked in the mirror and wondered, "What's wrong with me? Why wasn't I enough?" But instead of staying in that headspace, you chose to act. You started small, waking up earlier, hitting the gym, getting your finances in order, or picking up that hobby you always put on hold. Over time, those small changes stacked up. You weren't just moving forward, you were transforming. And before you knew it, you became someone new, someone more confident, focused, and self-assured. Let's say you were in a relationship where you had put her needs above your own. You made sacrifices, perhaps too many, and lost touch with your own goals. When she walked away, it felt like everything you had built together crumbled. But in the months that followed, you redirected that energy inward. You started prioritizing your health, diving into work projects with renewed vigor, and surrounding yourself with people who uplifted you. Months later, you cross paths. She looks at you, not with pity, but with surprise. The man she left behind isn't standing there anymore. In his place is someone who has grown beyond the limits of their shared past. From a Stoic perspective, adversity is a necessary part of life. Marcus Aurelius taught us that obstacles aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones. He wrote, The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. That rejection, as painful as it felt, was never a barrier. It was an invitation to evolve. It forced you to pause, reflect, and grow. Every setback taught you patience, resilience, and the art of focusing on what you can control, yourself. This mindset, this ability to turn pain into progress, is what makes growth so transformative. Now let's talk about her. When she looks back, she might see the man she left behind. But when she sees you now, her perspective shifts. She may start questioning her decision, wondering if she underestimated you. She may even feel drawn to the changes you've made. But here's the beauty of it. By this point, you've changed so much that her opinion is no longer your focus. You're no longer waiting for her to validate your worth because your growth speaks for itself. The validation you sought now comes from within, and that's more powerful than anything external. Think of this journey like a phoenix rising from the ashes. The old you had to burn away for the new you to emerge. And this version of you? It's unstoppable. You've built a life rooted in purpose, discipline, and strength. Whether or not she takes a second look isn't the point. The point is that you've become someone who doesn't need anyone else's approval. You've grown into a version of yourself that you admire, respect, and trust. So, to those of you navigating rejection, let me leave you with this. Rejection is not a period. It's a comma. It's a pause that pushes you toward greatness. Use it to dig deep, to work on yourself, and to rise above. Let your transformation be so undeniable that even you are in awe of who you've become. The man she left is gone, and in his place stands someone far more remarkable. Someone who owns his growth, his strength, and his future. You're not who she left anymore. You're better. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced a moment like this, where rejection became the spark for your transformation? Share your story in the comments. Your journey might inspire someone else who's struggling right now. Or, if you're still working through your own growth, take a moment to affirm your progress by typing, "I am not who I was. I am becoming who I'm meant to be." Let's keep the conversation going. Number 5. The fear of missing out. Have you ever noticed how something becomes more valuable the moment it's no longer easily accessible? It's the classic human tendency to overlook what's right in front of us until it's gone, or until someone else starts to notice its value. This is especially true in relationships. When a woman sees you thriving without her, truly thriving in a way that's undeniable, it stirs something deep within her. She begins to ask herself, what if someone else sees the value I rejected? Let's say you've gone through a breakup, or were overlooked by someone you cared about. The usual reaction might be to chase, to explain yourself, or to desperately cling to what's slipping away. But instead, you take a different path. You focus on yourself, not as a way to win her back, but as a way to genuinely elevate your life. You start hitting the gym more regularly, dressing better, spending time with people who uplift you, and diving into projects or hobbies you've been meaning to explore. Maybe you finally start that business idea you've been sitting on, or commit to daily meditation to strengthen your mindset. Over time, this shift becomes visible. You're no longer the same man she walked away from. Your energy has changed. Mutual friends might mention your progress, or she might catch a glimpse of you on social media looking better, more confident, and more magnetic. That's when the fear of missing out kicks in. She starts to wonder, did I misjudge him? Is he really as amazing as people are saying? And What if someone else claims what I let go? Here's the powerful truth. When you detach from the need for someone else's approval, you become infinitely more attractive. As Stoicism teaches, the only thing within your control is yourself, your mindset, your actions, and how you respond to life's challenges. When you embody this principle, you radiate a calm, unshakable confidence. It's not about trying to impress anyone, it's about being rooted in your own self-worth. And that quiet confidence, it's magnetic. Women, like most people, are drawn to stability and strength. When she sees that you're not chasing, not sulking, and certainly not waiting, it forces her to reflect. She starts to question if she miscalculated your value. The irony here is that the very act of moving forward with your life, not to make her jealous, but because you recognize your own worth, creates the dynamic where she begins to rethink her decision. When she sees you thriving, it shifts the balance of power. Suddenly, she's the one questioning her decisions. She's the one wondering if she overlooked something extraordinary. But here's the thing. Her FOMO is not your responsibility. It's a byproduct of your growth, not the goal. Your priority should always be you, your peace, your happiness, and your progress. So ask yourself, what areas of your life can you start improving today? Whether it's hitting the gym, pursuing a new hobby, or simply spending more time with positive influences, every small step you take is a step toward a stronger, more fulfilled version of yourself. And as you grow, let her realization, if it comes, be nothing more than an afterthought. You're not thriving to make her miss you. You're thriving because you've realized your own worth. Let that be your superpower. What's one area of your life you're ready to focus on today? Share your thoughts. I'd love to hear how you're stepping into your best self. Number 6. Regret over emotional reactions. Rejection is rarely as simple as it seems. In many cases, it's not about you. It's about the emotions she's experiencing in the moment. Sometimes, decisions are made in the heat of the moment, fueled by fleeting frustration, misunderstanding, or even fear. These emotional surges often cloud judgment, leading to choices that might not reflect her deeper feelings or long-term desires. Consider a disagreement escalating into rejection. Perhaps she said, "This isn't working," not because she truly believed it, but because she felt overwhelmed by the situation. She may have acted on impulse, reacting to an emotional high rather than taking time to reflect. Yet, emotions are temporary. They rise and fall like waves. When the intensity fades and clarity sets in, she may begin to question her decision. This is where your steadiness becomes so powerful. Instead of reacting emotionally yourself, calling her out, pleading for answers, or responding with frustration, you remain calm and grounded. You let her words stand without challenging them or pushing back emotionally. By doing so, you demonstrate emotional control, a key principle in Stoicism. Stoicism teaches us to remain composed in the face of emotional storms. Your calm presence serves as a stark contrast to her moment of impulsiveness. Over time, this difference becomes hard to ignore. She begins to notice that while she reacted in haste, you responded with wisdom and restraint. Here's another example. After a breakup, you don't flood her with texts or try to fix things immediately. Instead, you take a step back. You focus on your life, your growth, and your peace of mind. Meanwhile, she starts to notice the void left by your absence. Your silence isn't just the absence of noise. It's a reflection of your self-control. It forces her to look inward and question her own actions. Did I overreact? Was I too quick to dismiss what we had? These questions start to echo louder in her mind as she reflects on the moments she acted emotionally while you stayed composed. The beauty of Stoicism lies in its practicality. It reminds us to focus on what we can control: our emotions, our actions, our responses. When you master this, you show her that your steadiness isn't just a personality trait. It's a philosophy, a way of living. It's attractive because it creates a sense of safety and certainty in an uncertain world. So the next time rejection strikes, ask yourself, am I reacting emotionally, or am I choosing to stay grounded? Your steady demeanor will do more than you think. It will plant the seeds of reflection, showing her that while she may have acted on impulse, you are someone who acts with purpose. If you've made it this far, it's clear you're deeply reflecting on these dynamics and how they play out in real life. Have you ever been in a situation where emotions clouded judgment, on your side or hers? Share your story in the comments below, or simply type "steady and grounded" if this resonates with you. Your experience could inspire someone else navigating the same path. Number 7. You became a challenge again. There's an undeniable truth about human nature. We value what isn't easily within our grasp. The moment you stop chasing her, you shift from being predictable to intriguing. You go from being an open book to a captivating mystery. This change sparks something primal: the thrill of the chase. Suddenly, you're no longer someone she takes for granted. You're a challenge, and challenges are exciting. Imagine you've been texting her every day, always initiating plans, and bending over backward to make her happy. Over time, she starts to pull away, not because she's cruel, but because constant availability lowers your perceived value. Then one day, you stop, not out of anger or spite, but because you've decided to prioritize your life, your goals, and your inner peace. You focus on your work, hit the gym, reconnect with friends, and even pick up that hobby you've been putting off. She notices the shift. Suddenly, her phone isn't lighting up with your messages anymore. The attention she once took for granted is gone. And here's the surprising part: your absence becomes louder than your presence ever was. She begins to wonder, why isn't he chasing me anymore? Did I lose him? This is where Stoicism comes into play. Stoicism teaches us to let go of what we can't control, other people's actions, feelings, or decisions, and to focus on our own journey. By detaching yourself from the outcome, you regain your emotional independence. You're no longer a man seeking validation from her response. You're someone pursuing a life of meaning, fulfillment, and growth. Here's the key. It's not about playing games or trying to manipulate her feelings. It's about genuinely letting go of the need for her to come back. When you truly embrace this mindset, something amazing happens. Your indifference becomes intriguing. She sees that your happiness doesn't depend on her presence, and that makes her want to be a part of your world again. Think of it like this. A rare diamond isn't valuable because it chases buyers. It's valuable because it stands still and shines. People are drawn to it because it's unique, unattainable, and confident in its worth. When you embody this mindset, you become the rare diamond in her eyes, a man of self-respect, calm, and focus. The thrill of the chase reignites because you've shifted the dynamic. You've stopped proving your worth to her and started living as though you already know it. And that's the most attractive thing you can do. Number 8. The reality of grass isn't greener. Rejection can sting, but it's often not about you. It's about her perception of what's out there. Maybe she believes there's something better waiting for her, someone who checks more boxes or brings more excitement. It's a natural human tendency to wonder if the grass is greener on the other side. But here's the reality: it rarely is. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a woman walking away from a relationship that was steady, emotionally fulfilling, and supportive. She moves on, perhaps to someone who seems more exciting or offers a spark she thinks she's missing. But over time, the thrill fades. She starts noticing what's missing. Perhaps it's the sense of peace she felt with you, the way you handled life's challenges with grace, or how you were emotionally reliable when she needed it most. Suddenly, the glitter of what seemed new and better starts to lose its shine. This is where Stoicism comes in. Instead of letting rejection define you, Stoicism reminds us to focus on being our best selves. Not for her, not for anyone else, but for us. By cultivating inner strength, emotional stability, and clarity of purpose, you naturally create a presence that's hard to forget. While she's out there comparing others to you, wondering why they don't bring the same stability, you're staying centered. When she finds that her new options lack the emotional depth, consistency, or calmness you provided, it often hits her like a ton of bricks. It's not uncommon for someone to circle back, seeking the very qualities they once overlooked. Let's say you were always the steady rock in her life. You had a way of staying composed when things got tough, offering solutions instead of panic. She leaves, thinking she wants someone more spontaneous or thrilling. At first, it seems like she's having the time of her life. But then, when she's in a tough spot and her new connection falters, maybe they can't handle stress or they lack maturity, she starts thinking about you. She remembers how you calmly handled life's storms, how you didn't let emotions control you, and how you always made her feel safe. That's the moment she realizes something important. The grass wasn't greener. It was just a different shade. And in her heart, she knows she may never find that depth again. Don't let her decision shake you. Instead of dwelling on why she left, focus on the traits that make you irreplaceable: your stability, emotional resilience, and calm demeanor. These are the qualities that will not only draw her back, but also elevate your life, whether she returns or not. By remaining steadfast in who you are, you position yourself as someone who doesn't chase validation. You let your character speak for itself, and that leaves an impression no fleeting excitement can replace. So, when you feel the sting of rejection, remember, her perception of greener grass doesn't change your worth. Keep growing, keep improving, and trust that the depth you bring to the table will always set you apart. And if she realizes what she lost, that's just a reflection of the strength you've cultivated. Stay centered, my friends. What do you think about this perspective? Do you believe that people eventually recognize the depth and stability they once overlooked? Or do you think some lessons are only learned too late? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and let's start a conversation. Or simply type, "The grass isn't greener. It's just a different shade," if that resonates with you. Your voice matters, and your insights might inspire someone else. Let's keep watching. Number 9. Her doubts resurface. When she sees you flourishing, focused, confident, and building a better version of yourself, it can stir something deep within her. It's not just admiration, it's a confrontation with her own insecurities. While you're climbing higher, she might feel stuck, stagnant, or even regretful. Your progress acts as a mirror, reflecting back her doubts and the choices she's made, including the decision to let you go. For example, you've started working out regularly, pursuing new hobbies, or advancing in your career. Your social media posts show someone who is driven and purposeful, while she's scrolling through her feed, feeling like she hasn't moved forward. Each success you share isn't just about you. It's a subtle reminder to her of what she might have missed out on. As Stoics, we pursue growth not to prove anything to others, but to stay true to our own values. Our goal is self-improvement, not validation. But here's the paradox. When we align with our principles and strive for excellence, we naturally inspire others. Sometimes that inspiration motivates them to rise. Other times, it intimidates because it forces them to face where they've fallen short. Her renewed interest in you may not be purely romantic. It could stem from a desire to reconnect with someone who embodies what she secretly wishes for herself: purpose, determination, and resilience. Perhaps she wonders if she was too quick to dismiss you, realizing now that your qualities were exactly what she needed. The key here isn't to bask in her second thoughts, but to remain focused on your path. Your progress should be a reflection of your commitment to your own growth, not a reaction to her doubts. If she's inspired to improve herself, that's a testament to the positive ripple effect of your efforts. For instance, if she reaches out, acknowledge her interest, but remain grounded. You might say, "I appreciate you noticing the changes I've made. I've been working on becoming the best version of myself, not for anyone else, but because it aligns with who I want to be." This response reinforces your dedication to your journey while leaving the door open for a deeper, more genuine connection, if that's something you're open to. True growth is quiet, steady, and self-directed. It doesn't chase after recognition or demand validation. Yet, it's powerful enough to make others stop and take notice. Your role isn't to fix her insecurities or validate her feelings. Instead, continue to focus on your own development. If she chooses to reflect and grow as a result, that's her journey, not yours to dictate. Number 10. Testing the waters. Imagine this scenario. After weeks or even months of silence, she sends you a seemingly casual message. It might be as simple as, "Hey, how have you been?" Or, "I saw something today that reminded me of you." At first glance, it seems harmless. But beneath the surface, she may be testing the waters, trying to gauge if she still holds any sway over you. This isn't an outright declaration of regret or a plea for reconciliation. It's subtle, calculated, and often designed to elicit a reaction. Now, this is where your response becomes crucial. A man grounded in Stoicism understands that his initial reaction, whether it's excitement, anger, or even longing, doesn't need to dictate his actions. He pauses, reflects, and considers what response, if any, aligns with his values and serves his long-term peace of mind. For instance, imagine receiving a message like, "I hope you're doing well." A reactive man might jump at the chance to reply, potentially oversharing or coming across as too eager. But a Stoic man, he approaches this interaction with poise and intention. Perhaps he waits a few hours or even a day before responding, if he decides to respond at all. When he does, his reply might be short and neutral, such as, "Thank you. Hope you're doing well too." This kind of measured response serves two purposes. It communicates self-respect and shows that you're not emotionally dependent on her approval. It sends a clear signal. You are someone who values your time and emotional energy. This calm and thoughtful demeanor often leaves her intrigued. Why? Because it's rare. Most people are quick to react, but by taking your time, you demonstrate that your world doesn't revolve around her. The key to navigating moments like this is to remind yourself of one essential truth. Your value doesn't hinge on how she feels about you now. By maintaining composure and not letting your emotions drive the interaction, you show strength. A man who is secure in himself doesn't seek validation from someone who once distanced themselves. Instead, he evaluates whether this interaction serves his growth, peace, or purpose. Let's say her message stirs up old feelings. Instead of impulsively reacting, a Stoic man asks himself, does engaging in this conversation serve my long-term peace and values? If the answer is no, he might decide not to respond at all. Silence, in this case, speaks volumes. It communicates that you've moved forward, not out of spite, but because your emotional well-being takes precedence. By taking the Stoic approach, responding thoughtfully, or sometimes not at all, you maintain control over the interaction. You avoid the pitfalls of desperation or neediness, and instead embody the calm, self-assured man that commands respect. This doesn't just leave her intrigued, it reinforces the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. Number 11. Your inner peace is irresistible. Above all, what truly draws her back is the peace you've cultivated within yourself. Think about it. When was the last time you found yourself naturally gravitating towards someone who exuded calm, composure, and emotional resilience? Probably quite recently, because those qualities are magnetic, almost irresistible. A man who is anchored in his inner world, who remains steady regardless of external chaos, becomes a refuge in an unpredictable world. Stoicism teaches us that true strength is not about controlling others or our circumstances, but about mastering ourselves. It's about understanding that we cannot dictate what happens around us, but we can control how we respond. This is where the real power lies, remaining calm, composed, and focused no matter the situation. Imagine facing rejection or distance from someone you care about. Instead of reacting with anger, desperation, or confusion, you take a step back, reflect, and focus on cultivating your inner peace. This doesn't just protect your emotional well-being, it changes how people perceive you. For example, let's say you were in a relationship that ended unexpectedly. Most people might panic, bombard the other person with messages, or try to win them back by making grand gestures. Instead, imagine adopting the Stoic approach. You acknowledge your feelings, but you don't let them control you. You focus on your life, your goals, and your growth. You work on becoming the best version of yourself, not to prove anything to her, but because you recognize the value of inner peace. This approach doesn't go unnoticed. She may not fully understand what's different about you, but she'll sense it. Your calm, secure presence becomes unforgettable. Your serenity creates a magnetic energy that draws people in. It's the same reason why we're attracted to a still lake on a chaotic day. It offers peace, clarity, and a sense of grounding. When you embody this energy, it not only makes you more attractive, but also makes others feel safe and secure around you. Even if she doesn't consciously recognize it, she feels it. And that's the key. When you prioritize mastering yourself, you naturally become someone others want to be around. Not because of what you say or do, but because of the calm, composed energy you bring to any room. It's not about chasing her or anyone else. It's about standing firm in your own peace and letting that presence do the talking. That's what makes you unforgettable. Rejection is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. Think of it as a turning point, a moment where you reclaim control over your life and decide who you want to be moving forward. Every setback, every disappointment carries within it the seeds of growth. By adopting the principles of Stoicism, you learn to focus on what truly matters: your own character, your own journey, and your own peace of mind. This is your chance to build yourself into someone who doesn't just endure rejection, but thrives because of it. When she sees you again, stronger, more focused, and radiating self-respect, her perspective may shift. But remember, this transformation is not for her, it's for you. Whether she returns or stays away is irrelevant to your path. What truly matters is the person you've become during this process. It's not about proving anything to anyone, but staying true to the stronger, wiser, and more authentic version of yourself. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and reach more people. Share this video with someone who might need to hear these words today, and subscribe if you want to keep exploring ways to grow stronger in life and relationships. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which point stood out the most to you? How do you plan to apply these lessons in your own life? Let's start a conversation and build a community of strength and resilience together. Thank you for watching and supporting this channel. Your growth and journey inspire this work. Until next time, remember to stay grounded, stay focused, and as always, stay stoic. See you in the next video. Take care.